What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's video, and I want to talk to you about how to improve your deer hunting property. And there's a lot of things in this, and there's a lot of videos out there that describe how to do this, but I want to talk to you about literally the foundation of that. And when you start getting into all these specialty things, you know, those are just kind of like sweeteners or bonuses, if you want to call them, or you know, just extra tactics you can use. But to have a good hunting property all starts with the foundation. And the reason I'm making this video is we were recently at the Great American Outdoor Show, and I saw a lot of different booths in there that were selling, you know, trees, fruit trees and things, and all these different types of weird like gadgets and weird supplements to deer. And there was a company there that was selling their services on consulting, and I talked to the guy for a second, and what he was telling me was he was just literally trying to sell you stuff like fruit trees. Like he's like, you have to have fruit trees on your property to in order to kill deer. And then if you dig into that, they sell fruit trees. So you have to look at where this stuff comes from, and where the money comes from, how these people are getting, you know, trying to sell you stuff, and where it's coming from. So with that said, having a strong foundation on your hunting property, what does that mean? Well, number one starts with access. If you don't have access on your property, that's not a good foundation, because you're going to continuously spook the deer off your property. And when you continuously do that, what happens is those mature bucks become nocturnal. And I say that because they may return to your property at nighttime, and then you see them on your trail cameras and they're all at night, and you think, oh well, all the deer around here are nocturnal. Well, no, they're not nocturnal everywhere. They're nocturnal on your property because you're continuously spooking them out, pushing them, bumping them, and they're just running off to your neighbors. And if you're in an area that butts up to other neighbors as well, every time you push them out, your neighbors are hunting. Guess what? Those deer are getting shot. So it's hard to grow deer in that type of situation as well, because you're putting out all this food, you're putting out these minerals, you're paying attention to soil health on your food plots, and you're putting all this work in there, but then your access is poor and you're pushing the deer out, and then all of a sudden your neighbors are shooting them, and then in your mind, this place sucks, there's no deer, or they're all nocturnal. So it all starts with good access routes to and from your tree stand, so you can limit, nothing is 100% foolproof, but you can limit the amount of deer you spook going in and out. The next in this is a food plot program. And people speak of food plots. Well, I always say you need a program. And a program is a continuous cycle of food on your property. And a continuous cycle of food, well, what is that? Well, is it just one food plot, or is it many food plots? Well, those food plots need to work together in order to feed your deer for long periods of time. That way it helps feed them through the harsh conditions of winter. And you know, when you do that, you need to be planting the right species, you know, adding grains in there. If you have a large enough field, like this field here is 50 acres, right? Imagine planting 50 acres of soybeans and leaving them standing all year, so they have the pods and the carbohydrates and the grains and the fat from all that. Well, most of us can't do that, so you have to look at different species such as like wheat and rye, and having mixtures, blends that have those incorporated in there. So because, like, you know, for the past 4 days now it's been up in the 50s, right? So everybody, I'm in Maryland, so everybody's food plot that has wheat and rye, all that stuff's greening up and it's feeding deer. Well, right now, if your property is not properly maintained, you're limited on winter food such as woody browse, so you have to have the foods to supplement that deer's diet, and in order to get up into spring and summer. Therefore, the natural browse can take over, and your food plots are less needed per se. So you have to have that program to where you're planting the right species that's feeding the wildlife. And if you're in big wood settings, you know, your food plots are probably more important than they would be in an ag situation, because ag, you have tons of deer, you know, that can feed in the ag fields and all that. So that's just a basic of having a food plot program, but realize, you know, that program is designed to improve soil as years go on, and also to feed wildlife. You know, another step into having a good foundation is, you know, taking care of your woods. You know, having good woody browse, you know, cutting out certain species. You know, we were on a property the other day that was full of beech trees, and these beech trees were so large they were shading out the canopy, no sun to the ground, and it wasn't allowing any food to grow. So you have to look at that and realize, you know, how much food do I have in the wintertime, and is it enough to sustain the deer herd? You know, how many deer you have in your area. Is all the woody browse in your area lip high off the ground? You have too many deer or not enough of it. So you have to examine your woods, and okay, is it dominated by spruce trees or pine trees and it's all shaded out? Is it dominated by beech trees? Do I have oaks but they're shaded out so they can't produce acorns? So you have to look at that, and you have to get some cuttings in there, whether it's a select cut, clear cut, burning in the southern states, or just simply going in and, you know, cutting some trees, getting just simple as that, getting some food, you know, sunlight to the ground. All this stuff helps build that foundation up, and that's where all of this stems from. The foundation of all that, you know, when you start cutting too, you'll have more bedding, more structure on the ground. So that's the foundation of how to improve your property. When you start getting into planting trees and having apple trees and fruit trees, persimmons and pears and stuff, those are just bonuses, and they can help feed your deer. But it really starts with that foundation of access, improving the woods, the timber on your property, and a good habitat food plot program. So those are the basics, but they're the staple of having quality deer and a quality program on your property. Any questions, drop a comment down below. I'll see you guys on the next video. Also guys, if you guys have any more questions, give that video a watch right there and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you guys on that next video.